When someone stops valuing you, it's essential to pause and take stock of the situation with clarity and composure. Often, our initial response is to react emotionally, whether it's through anger, disappointment, or a desperate need to seek answers. However, reacting in such ways usually only amplifies the negative feelings within us, further deepening the pain of being undervalued. The first step is not to respond outwardly, but to turn inward. Recognize what you're feeling and give yourself the space to process it. This is not about bottling up emotions or pretending everything is fine. Rather, it's about allowing yourself to acknowledge the situation without judgment. Understanding that someone no longer values you is not an easy realization to face. For many, it can trigger a cascade of self-doubt and insecurity. You may find yourself asking, "What did I do wrong?" Or "Why am I not enough?" These questions, while natural, are ultimately unproductive. They place the focus on your perceived shortcomings instead of illuminating the deeper truth. Their lack of value for you says far more about them than it does about you. People's actions and attitudes are often shaped by their own unresolved issues, insecurities, or shifting priorities. Recognizing this fact is not about excusing their behavior, but about removing the burden of blame from yourself. Another critical aspect of awareness is identifying patterns. Ask yourself, is this the first time you felt undervalued by this person, or is it part of a recurring dynamic? Patterns often reveal underlying issues that go unnoticed in the day-to-day flow of relationships. Perhaps this person has consistently taken your efforts for granted or failed to reciprocate the energy and care you've poured into the relationship. Recognizing patterns helps you understand whether this situation is an isolated incident or a long-standing issue that needs addressing. In addition to recognizing patterns, it's important to assess the context of the relationship. People interact with us based on how we've allowed them to treat us over time. If you've consistently given too much without setting boundaries, you may have unintentionally trained them to undervalue you. This doesn't mean you are at fault. It simply means you now have an opportunity to change the dynamic. Awareness of your role in the relationship is empowering because it gives you control over how you choose to proceed. You can decide whether to continue the relationship with new boundaries in place or to step away entirely. Awareness also involves being honest with yourself about your emotions. It's tempting to suppress feelings of hurt or disappointment, especially if you want to maintain a sense of strength. But true awareness requires you to sit with those emotions and understand them. What exactly are you feeling? Is it sadness, frustration, anger, or perhaps a mix of all three? By naming your emotions, you can begin to understand their root cause. Often, the pain of being undervalued is not just about the present situation, but also tied to past experiences or fears of rejection. Understanding these deeper layers can be a transformative step in healing. Once you've processed your emotions, it's essential to shift your perspective. Being undervalued by someone can feel deeply personal, but it's crucial to remember that their actions are not a definitive measure of your worth. No one person has the power to define your value. This awareness allows you to reclaim your sense of self-worth and view the situation objectively. Instead of internalizing their lack of appreciation, you can see it as an opportunity to realign your focus on those who truly value you. Awareness also involves acknowledging what you bring to the table. Take time to reflect on your strengths, contributions, and the unique qualities that make you who you are. Write them down if needed. This exercise is not about feeding your ego, but about reminding yourself of your inherent value, especially in moments when others fail to see it. By reconnecting with your self-worth, you become less reliant on external validation. You begin to realize that someone's inability to appreciate you does not diminish your worth, it merely reveals their limitations. It's also important to be aware of how your energy is being affected. Relationships, whether personal or professional, require energy. If you're consistently giving your time, effort, and emotions to someone who doesn't reciprocate, it can leave you feeling drained and depleted. Pay attention to how this dynamic is impacting your overall well-being. Are you feeling more anxious, exhausted, or unmotivated because of their lack of appreciation? Recognizing the toll this takes on you is a key part of awareness because it signals the need for change. Finally, awareness involves understanding what you want and need moving forward. Take a moment to ask yourself, what do I truly deserve in a relationship or interaction? This is not about creating unrealistic expectations, but about setting a standard for how you wish to be treated. By becoming clear about your own needs and boundaries, you can decide whether this person's lack of value aligns with your vision for your life. This clarity empowers you to make decisions that honor your worth and well-being. In essence, awareness is not about overanalyzing or obsessing over why someone doesn't value you. It's about stepping back, observing the situation with honesty and clarity, and recognizing the opportunity to grow from it. It is the foundation for any meaningful change, allowing you to reclaim your power and focus on what truly matters, your own self-worth and happiness. When someone fails to value you, one of the most powerful and transformative actions you can take is to withdraw your energy gracefully. This doesn't mean retreating in anger, bitterness, or a desire to punish. It means stepping back with a sense of dignity and self-respect. The act of withdrawal is often misunderstood as weakness or surrender, but in reality, it is one of the most potent ways to reclaim your power. By removing your energy from someone who doesn't appreciate it, you create space for clarity and growth, not just for yourself, but for them as well. Withdrawing your energy begins with the realization that trying to force someone to value you is a losing battle. You can't make someone see your worth if they've chosen not to. Any effort to convince them will only drain you further, leaving you feeling more frustrated and disempowered. It's important to understand that your value doesn't diminish just because they fail to recognize it. By stepping back, you demonstrate to yourself and others that your energy is precious and not to be wasted on those who fail to cherish it. This withdrawal isn't about silence for the sake of manipulation or games. It's about prioritizing your peace and redirecting your attention inward. The moment you decide to stop chasing someone's validation, you free yourself from their grip. This isn't easy, especially if you care deeply for the person or have invested significant time and energy into the relationship. But withdrawal doesn't mean cutting them off with hostility or resentment. Instead, it's a quiet and deliberate decision to protect your emotional well-being. When you withdraw gracefully, you stop engaging in behaviors that seek their approval or attention. This includes refraining from over-explaining yourself, justifying your actions, or trying to fix the relationship single-handedly. These actions often stem from a place of insecurity or fear of losing the connection, but they rarely produce the desired results. Instead of earning their respect, you may find yourself feeling more disregarded as your efforts go unnoticed. By ceasing these behaviors, you communicate that you are no longer willing to deplete yourself for their acknowledgement. Graceful withdrawal also involves setting boundaries, both external and internal. Externally, this might mean reducing the amount of time you spend with them, declining invitations, or limiting communication. Internally, it involves letting go of the need to analyze their every word or action. It's natural to want to understand why they stopped valuing you, but obsessing over their motives will only keep you stuck in the past. Instead, focus on the present moment and how you can redirect your energy towards something more fulfilling. One of the most profound aspects of withdrawing your energy is the silence it creates. Silence can be uncomfortable, but it is also incredibly powerful. When you stop trying to prove your worth, you force the other person to confront the void left by your absence. They may not immediately notice or acknowledge it, but over time, the impact of your withdrawal becomes undeniable. This silence is not a form of punishment, it's an opportunity for reflection for both you and them. It allows you to evaluate the relationship objectively and decide whether it aligns with your values and needs. Graceful withdrawal requires patience and self-discipline. The urge to reach out, explain yourself, or seek closure can be overwhelming, but these actions often stem from a desire to regain control over the situation. However, true control comes from letting go not in anger or spite, but in acceptance. By withdrawing, you shift the focus from them to yourself. This shift can feel unfamiliar and even uncomfortable at first, especially if you've spent a lot of time prioritizing their needs over your own. But it is a necessary step in reclaiming your power and self-worth. As you withdraw your energy, you may notice a shift in the way you feel. Initially, there may be a sense of loss or emptiness, but this is simply the space that's been created by your withdrawal. This space is not something to fear, it is something to embrace. It is an opportunity to fill your life with people, experiences, and pursuits that truly align with your values and bring you joy. The energy you once invested in someone who didn't value you can now be redirected toward personal growth, self-care, and meaningful connections. Withdrawal also serves as a mirror for the other person. When you stop overextending yourself, they are forced to confront their behavior. Some may realize the value of what they've lost and make genuine efforts to change, while others may remain indifferent. Either way, their response is no longer your responsibility. By withdrawing, you've already taken the most important step, reclaiming your energy and prioritizing your well-being. Graceful withdrawal doesn't mean cutting someone off completely unless that's what the situation requires. It's about creating healthy distance and focusing on what truly matters: your peace, your growth, and your happiness. This distance allows you to see the relationship from a new perspective, free from the emotional entanglement that may have clouded your judgment before. It gives you the clarity to decide whether the relationship is worth maintaining or whether it's time to let it go entirely. The beauty of withdrawing your energy is that it's not dependent on the other person's actions or reactions. It's a decision you make for yourself, rooted in self-respect and self-love. By stepping back, you reclaim your autonomy and remind yourself that your value is not determined by how others treat you. This act of withdrawal is a powerful statement not to them, but to yourself, that you are worthy of more than being undervalued. It is a declaration that your energy is sacred and will only be shared with those who recognize and honor it. The decision to focus on yourself after being undervalued by someone else is not just a reaction, it's a transformative process. Turning your attention inward is an act of reclaiming your power, redefining your priorities, and rediscovering your own worth. When you shift your focus from trying to earn someone else's approval to investing in your own growth, the dynamics of your life begin to change in profound ways. This process requires deliberate effort, patience, and a deep commitment to your own well-being, but it holds the potential to not only heal your wounds, but also propel you toward a stronger and more fulfilled version of yourself. Focusing on yourself begins with recognizing that your worth is intrinsic and not contingent upon someone else's perception of you. When someone devalues you, it can be tempting to internalize their actions and view yourself through the distorted lens they've provided. This is where the real danger lies, allowing their lack of appreciation to diminish your self-esteem. Instead, you must consciously choose to reject this narrative and affirm your own value. This isn't about arrogance or ego, it's about embracing your inherent dignity and refusing to let anyone's neglect or indifference define your identity. This redirection of focus involves setting aside the mental and emotional energy you've been investing in the other person and channeling it toward your own goals, passions, and aspirations. Think about the time you spend worrying about their approval, dissecting their words, or trying to figure out what went wrong. What if that energy was redirected towards something that truly matters to you? Whether it's pursuing a long-held dream, exploring a new hobby, or simply taking better care of your physical and mental health, focusing on yourself allows you to reclaim that energy and put it to far better use. Personal growth becomes a central theme when you decide to focus on yourself. Start by reflecting on your values, strengths, and areas for improvement. What makes you unique? What are the qualities you admire in yourself, and what aspects of your life would you like to enhance? These questions are not meant to highlight your flaws, but to create a roadmap for your journey of self-discovery and improvement. This process can be both empowering and enlightening as you uncover parts of yourself that may have been overshadowed by your focus on the other person. Another critical aspect of focusing on yourself is learning to prioritize your own needs and desires. In relationships or interactions where you feel undervalued, it's common to place the other person's happiness above your own. This self-sacrificing tendency, while noble in intent, often leads to feelings of neglect and resentment when it isn't reciprocated. By focusing on yourself, you begin to break this cycle. You learn to ask, what do I need right now? And how can I nurture my own well-being? This shift in perspective allows you to meet your own needs without relying on external validation. Focusing on yourself also means cultivating a sense of self-reliance and independence. When someone stops valuing you, it can leave you feeling unmoored or dependent on their attention to feel significant. But this is an illusion. Your significance comes from within, not from their acknowledgement. As you redirect your focus, you'll find that you're more than capable of creating your own happiness and fulfillment. This doesn't mean isolating yourself or refusing to accept help from others. Rather, it's about recognizing that you have the strength and resources to navigate life on your terms. One powerful way to focus on yourself is by practicing self-care. This goes beyond pampering yourself with occasional treats or indulgences. True self-care involves nurturing every aspect of your being: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. It means eating nourishing foods, getting enough sleep, exercising regularly, and seeking support when needed. It also means setting boundaries, saying no when necessary, and protecting your energy from people or situations that drain you. Self-care is not selfish, it's an essential foundation for a healthy and fulfilling life. Another key element of focusing on yourself is cultivating gratitude and mindfulness. When someone undervalues you, it's easy to dwell on the hurt and negativity of the situation. But by shifting your attention to what you're grateful for, you begin to change your mindset. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring the pain or pretending everything is perfect. It means acknowledging the good in your life and finding reasons to celebrate it, no matter how small. Mindfulness complements this by helping you stay present and grounded, reducing the tendency to ruminate on the past or worry about the future. Surrounding yourself with positive influences is another important step in focusing on yourself. Seek out relationships and environments that uplift and inspire you. Spend time with people who appreciate and support you, and distance yourself from those who drain your energy or perpetuate negativity. This isn't about cutting people off out of spite. It's about curating a life that aligns with your values and fosters your growth. Positive influences can also come from books, podcasts, or other forms of media that motivate and educate you. Focusing on yourself also involves celebrating your progress, no matter how small. It's easy to get caught up in the big picture and overlook the little victories along the way. But every step you take toward personal growth and self-improvement is worth acknowledging. Celebrate the fact that you're choosing to focus on yourself, even when it feels challenging or unfamiliar. These moments of celebration reinforce your commitment to your journey and remind you of your strength and resilience. Ultimately, focusing on yourself is not a one-time decision, but an ongoing practice. It requires you to continuously choose yourself, even when the pull of external validation or old habits feels strong. It's a process of learning, growing, and evolving, guided by a deep commitment to your own well-being and happiness. Through this journey, you'll discover that the greatest source of value comes not from how others perceive you, but from how you perceive and honor yourself. Letting go of the need to control others' perceptions and actions is one of the most liberating steps you can take in life. When you feel undervalued or unappreciated, there is often an instinctual response to try to change how the other person sees you. You might find yourself explaining, proving, or overcompensating, all in an effort to make them recognize your worth. But this approach not only drains your energy, but also reinforces a dynamic where your self-worth is tied to their validation. Letting go of this need is not about giving up, it's about reclaiming your power and shifting your focus to what you can truly control: your own actions, thoughts, and emotions. Releasing the need to control begins with understanding that you cannot force someone to value or respect you. These qualities arise from within them, shaped by their experiences, beliefs, and priorities. No amount of effort on your part can make someone see something they're unwilling or unable to recognize. When you let go of this futile struggle, you free yourself from the constant stress and disappointment that comes with trying to manage someone else's perspective. Instead, you create space to direct that energy toward nurturing your own growth and well-being. This shift requires a change in mindset, one that acknowledges the reality of the situation while refusing to take it personally. People's actions are often reflections of their inner world, not of your value as a person. If someone doesn't appreciate you, it doesn't necessarily mean there's something wrong with you. It may simply indicate that their priorities or capacity for connection don't align with yours. Accepting this truth is not an act of resignation, but of empowerment. It allows you to release the weight of their judgments and focus on what truly matters: how you see yourself. One of the most effective ways to let go of the need to control is to practice detachment. Detachment doesn't mean becoming indifferent or emotionally distant. It means recognizing that your happiness and self-worth are not dependent on external factors. It's about creating emotional boundaries that protect you from the impact of others' opinions or actions. When you detach, you still care about the outcome, but you're not consumed by it. You learn to observe the situation with clarity and make decisions based on what's best for you, rather than being driven by the desire to change someone else. Letting go also involves releasing expectations. Expectations can be a significant source of frustration and disappointment, especially when they're unmet. When you expect someone to act a certain way or to value you in a specific manner, you set yourself up for potential pain if those expectations are not fulfilled. By letting go of these expectations, you allow yourself to accept people for who they are and focus on how their behavior aligns with your needs and values. This doesn't mean lowering your standards. It means recognizing that not everyone will meet them and that this is okay. Another crucial aspect of letting go is shifting your focus from external validation to internal fulfillment. When you rely on others to affirm your worth, you place your sense of self in their hands. This makes you vulnerable to their whims and subject to their perceptions. By letting go of this dependence, you reclaim your autonomy and build a foundation of self-worth that is unshakable. This process involves cultivating self-love, affirming your strengths, and recognizing your own value independent of how others perceive you. Forgiveness plays a significant role in letting go. Holding on to resentment or anger towards someone who has undervalued you only binds you to the pain of the experience. Forgiveness is not about condoning their actions or forgetting what happened. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional burden of holding a grudge. When you forgive, you release the hold that the situation has over you, allowing you to move forward with a lighter heart and a clearer mind. Letting go also means trusting the process of life. Sometimes when someone doesn't value you, it's a sign that the relationship or interaction has served its purpose and it's time to move on. This doesn't negate the positive aspects of the connection or the lessons you've learned from it. Trusting the process means believing that every experience, even the painful ones, contributes to your growth and prepares you for something better. It's about embracing change as a natural part of life and being open to new opportunities and connections. An important part of letting go is practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness helps you stay present and grounded, reducing the tendency to dwell on past hurts or worry about the future. When you're mindful, you can observe your thoughts and emotions without being overwhelmed by them. This awareness allows you to respond to situations with clarity and intention, rather than reacting out of habit or fear. Mindfulness also helps you appreciate the present moment, reminding you that your life is not defined by any single relationship or experience. Lastly, letting go requires patience and self-compassion. It's a process that takes time and effort, and there will be moments when you struggle or feel the pull of old habits. In these moments, it's essential to be kind to yourself and to acknowledge the progress you've made. Celebrate the steps you've taken toward letting go, no matter how small, and remind yourself that healing is a journey, not a destination. By practicing patience and self-compassion, you create a supportive environment for your growth and allow yourself the freedom to move forward at your own pace. Redefining your boundaries and reclaiming your space is a transformative act of self-respect and empowerment, especially when you feel undervalued. Boundaries are not about creating barriers, but about establishing clear guidelines for how you expect to be treated and what you are willing to accept. They are the foundation of healthy relationships and a balanced life. When someone no longer values you, it often indicates that your boundaries may have been overlooked, disrespected, or even eroded over time. Reclaiming your space allows you to reset these boundaries, reinforce your self-worth, and prioritize your emotional well-being. The process begins with an honest assessment of the dynamics in your relationships. Often people undervalue others because there is a lack of clarity about what is acceptable and what isn't. This lack of clarity can stem from a fear of conflict, a desire to please others, or an internalized belief that setting boundaries is selfish. But the truth is, boundaries are acts of kindness to yourself and to others. They communicate your needs and expectations clearly, reducing misunderstandings and creating an environment where mutual respect can flourish. Reclaiming your space also involves learning to say no without guilt. For many, this is a challenging step because they equate saying no with rejection or selfishness. However, every time you say yes to something that compromises your values or well-being, you are saying no to yourself. By asserting your right to decline what doesn't serve you, you reclaim control over your time, energy, and emotional resources. Saying no is not about pushing people away, it's about making intentional choices that align with your priorities and values. To truly reclaim your space, you must also evaluate the energy you invest in others. Relationships where you feel undervalued often demand disproportionate amounts of your emotional energy while offering little in return. This imbalance can leave you feeling drained, unappreciated, and even resentful. By identifying these energy-draining dynamics, you can begin to redirect your focus toward relationships and activities that uplift and fulfill you. This doesn't mean cutting people off without reason. It means being discerning about where and how you allocate your energy. Part of this reclamation involves creating physical and emotional space for yourself. This might mean spending time alone to reflect, recharge, and reconnect with your inner self. Solitude is a powerful tool for self-discovery and healing. It allows you to separate your thoughts and feelings from external influences, giving you the clarity and confidence to make decisions that honor your true self. Emotional space, on the other hand, involves detaching from situations or people that trigger feelings of inadequacy or negativity. This detachment is not an act of rejection, but a way to protect your peace and well-being. Reclaiming your space also means redefining your identity outside of how others see you. When you feel undervalued, it's easy to internalize the idea that you are somehow less than or unworthy. But your worth is not determined by someone else's ability or inability to recognize it. By shifting your focus inward and reconnecting with your strengths, passions, and values, you can rebuild your sense of self. This self-awareness forms the foundation of your boundaries and guides your interactions with others moving forward. A crucial aspect of reclaiming your space is the ability to communicate your boundaries effectively. This requires both clarity and confidence. Be specific about what you need and why it's important, and express yourself in a calm and assertive manner. Remember that setting boundaries is not about controlling others, but about defining what you will and won't tolerate. It's okay if people don't immediately understand or agree with your boundaries. Their reaction is not your responsibility. What matters is that you honor and uphold them consistently. Reclaiming your space may also involve redefining your priorities. When you feel undervalued, it's a sign that your needs and desires may have taken a backseat to someone else's. Take the time to identify what truly matters to you and align your actions with those priorities. This might mean pursuing a passion you've neglected, investing in your personal growth, or focusing on relationships that reciprocate your effort and care. By prioritizing yourself, you send a powerful message to yourself and others that your well-being is non-negotiable. The process of reclaiming your space is not without challenges. People who have benefited from your lack of boundaries may resist or push back when you begin to assert them. They might accuse you of being selfish, difficult, or ungrateful. It's important to remember that their reactions are reflections of their discomfort with change, not indictments of your character. Stay firm in your resolve and remind yourself that setting boundaries is a necessary step toward creating healthier relationships and a more fulfilling life. Another essential element of this process is self-compassion. Reclaiming your space can be emotionally taxing, especially if it involves confronting painful truths about your relationships or making difficult decisions about who to let go of. Be patient with yourself and acknowledge the courage it takes to prioritize your well-being. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and remind yourself that you are worthy of respect, kindness, and appreciation. Reclaiming your space ultimately empowers you to create a life that reflects your values and supports your happiness. It allows you to surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you rather than those who take you for granted. It's about taking ownership of your experiences and creating an environment where you can thrive, grow, and be authentically yourself. By redefining your boundaries and reclaiming your space, you set the stage for a more fulfilling and meaningful existence. Shifting your focus inward is a transformative act that redirects your energy from external validation to self-awareness and personal growth. When others fail to value you, it's easy to become consumed by their actions or inactions, constantly seeking explanations or changes that may never come. This external focus can drain your emotional resources and leave you feeling powerless. By turning your attention inward, you reclaim that power and embark on a journey of rediscovery that is rooted in self-respect, clarity, and intentional living. The first step in this process is acknowledging that the opinions or behaviors of others do not define your worth. Too often, people tie their self-esteem to external feedback, relying on others to affirm their value or significance. This dependency creates a fragile foundation for self-worth as it places control of your emotional state in the hands of others. By shifting your focus inward, you begin to build an unshakable sense of self that is independent of external validation. This internal grounding allows you to see yourself as you truly are, without distortion from the judgments or indifference of others. Shifting inward also involves a conscious effort to quiet the external noise that distracts from your inner voice. The world is filled with opinions, expectations, and pressures that can cloud your understanding of what truly matters to you. When you feel undervalued, these external influences can amplify self-doubt and push you to question your worth. By creating space for introspection and self-reflection, you can separate your authentic desires and values from the noise of others' expectations. This clarity is essential for understanding who you are, what you want, and what you need to thrive. Self-reflection is a cornerstone of this inward shift. It involves taking the time to examine your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors with honesty and curiosity. Reflect on your experiences and relationships, identifying patterns that have contributed to feelings of being undervalued. Ask yourself, what have I tolerated that doesn't align with my values? What boundaries have I neglected to set? Where have I compromised my needs for the sake of others? These questions can uncover insights that guide your journey toward greater self-awareness and empowerment. As you delve inward, it's important to practice self-compassion. The process of self-discovery can bring up feelings of regret, guilt, or sadness about past choices or missed opportunities. Be gentle with yourself and remember that growth is a journey, not a destination. Every step you take toward understanding and valuing yourself is a step toward healing and transformation. Self-compassion also involves recognizing and celebrating your strengths and accomplishments, no matter how small. This practice reinforces a positive self-image and helps you cultivate a deep sense of appreciation for who you are. Focusing inward also requires a shift in how you allocate your time and energy. Instead of pouring your resources into relationships or situations that leave you feeling depleted, redirect them toward activities that nourish your soul and bring you joy. This might mean pursuing a creative hobby, dedicating time to personal development, or simply taking moments to enjoy solitude and reconnect with yourself. These acts of self-care are not indulgent, they are essential for building resilience and maintaining your emotional well-being. Another critical aspect of turning inward is redefining your goals and priorities. When you feel undervalued, it can be tempting to focus on trying to change others' perceptions or win their approval. However, this external focus often leads to frustration and disappointment. By shifting your attention to what you want to achieve and experience in life, you reclaim your sense of purpose and direction. Set goals that align with your passions and values and take steps toward them with confidence and determination. This forward momentum not only boosts your self-esteem, but also reinforces the belief that your happiness is within your control. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for cultivating an inward focus. By bringing your attention to the present moment, you can break free from the cycle of rumination and self-doubt that often accompanies feelings of being undervalued. Mindfulness practices such as meditation, deep breathing, or journaling can help you connect with your inner self and develop a greater awareness of your thoughts and emotions. This awareness allows you to respond to challenges with clarity and intention, rather than reacting impulsively or being overwhelmed by negativity. Shifting inward also involves reevaluating your relationships and identifying those that support your growth and well-being. Surrounding yourself with people who appreciate and respect you is vital for maintaining a positive self-image. At the same time, it's important to distance yourself from relationships that consistently leave you feeling undervalued or disrespected. This doesn't mean you have to sever ties with everyone who has ever hurt you, but it does mean being intentional about the energy you invest in different connections. Prioritize relationships that uplift and inspire you, and let go of those that drain your spirit. As you continue this inward journey, you may find that your perspective on life begins to shift. Instead of viewing challenges as obstacles, you see them as opportunities for growth and learning. Instead of seeking validation from others, you find fulfillment in your own achievements and experiences. This shift not only empowers you to navigate life with greater confidence and resilience, but also creates a ripple effect that positively impacts every aspect of your existence. Finally, shifting inward involves embracing the concept of self-acceptance. This means acknowledging and honoring all aspects of yourself, the strengths and the weaknesses, the successes and the failures. Self-acceptance is not about settling for mediocrity or ignoring areas for improvement. It's about recognizing that you are inherently worthy and deserving of love and respect, just as you are. This unconditional self-acceptance forms the foundation for healthy relationships, meaningful pursuits, and a fulfilling life. By focusing inward, you take ownership of your happiness and well-being, creating a life that reflects your true self. This inward shift is not an escape from the world, but a powerful way to engage with it on your own terms, guided by self-awareness, authenticity, and purpose. Building new habits is a profound way to create meaningful and lasting changes in your life, especially when dealing with the emotional challenges of feeling undervalued. Habits shape our daily actions and over time determine the trajectory of our lives. When you decide to implement habits that prioritize your well-being, you shift your focus away from seeking validation and toward creating a life of self-respect, growth, and fulfillment. This process is not about drastic overhauls, but about consistent, intentional changes that align with your values and goals. One of the most transformative habits to develop is setting boundaries. Boundaries define how you allow others to treat you and what you consider acceptable behavior in your interactions. Without clear boundaries, it's easy to fall into patterns where others take advantage of your kindness or fail to recognize your worth. Establishing boundaries might feel uncomfortable at first, particularly if you've been accustomed to prioritizing others over yourself. However, it's a critical habit that communicates your self-respect and teaches others how to value you. Start small by identifying areas where you feel overextended or disrespected and practice saying no or expressing your needs assertively. Another key habit is practicing gratitude. While this might seem unrelated to feeling undervalued, gratitude shifts your perspective from what's lacking to what's abundant in your life. It encourages you to focus on the positive aspects of your experiences, fostering a sense of contentment and reducing the need for external validation. Make it a daily habit to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for, whether it's the support of a friend, a personal achievement, or simply the beauty of nature. Over time, this practice rewires your mindset, helping you find joy and fulfillment within yourself. Engaging in regular self-reflection is another habit that can significantly impact your sense of self-worth. Set aside time each day or week to assess your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Journaling can be a powerful tool for this, allowing you to explore your inner world without judgment. Reflect on what brings you joy, what drains your energy, and what aligns with your values. This habit not only deepens your self-awareness, but also helps you make intentional choices that honor your needs and aspirations. Incorporating mindfulness into your routine is another habit that can help you navigate feelings of being undervalued. Mindfulness involves being present in the moment and observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment. It allows you to detach from negative narratives and respond to challenges with clarity and calmness. You can cultivate mindfulness through practices like meditation, yoga, or simply taking a few minutes each day to focus on your breath. This habit strengthens your ability to remain grounded and resilient, even when faced with difficult situations or relationships. Physical activity is another essential habit that supports both your mental and emotional well-being. Exercise releases endorphins, which are natural mood boosters, and helps reduce stress and anxiety. It's also a powerful way to build discipline and self-confidence. Whether it's a daily walk, a yoga session, or a more intensive workout, find an activity that you enjoy and commit to it regularly. The benefits extend beyond physical health, creating a positive ripple effect that enhances your overall sense of self-worth and vitality. Developing a habit of learning and personal growth can also help you overcome feelings of being undervalued. When you invest in your skills, knowledge, and passions, you cultivate a sense of accomplishment and purpose. This could involve reading books, taking courses, or exploring new hobbies that ignite your curiosity and creativity. Learning not only enhances your capabilities, but also reinforces the belief that you are capable of growth and transformation. It's a habit that builds confidence and opens doors to new opportunities, reminding you that your value is not dependent on others' perceptions. Creating a habit of positive self-talk is another crucial step in this journey. The way you speak to yourself has a profound impact on your self-esteem and overall mindset. Replace negative, self-critical thoughts with affirmations that reflect your strengths and potential. For example, instead of thinking I'm not good enough, reframe it as I am capable and I am growing every day. Practice this habit consistently, especially during moments of doubt or insecurity. Over time, positive self-talk becomes a natural part of your thought process, empowering you to face challenges with confidence and resilience. Cultivating a support network of like-minded individuals is another habit that can reinforce your self-worth. Surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you, rather than those who diminish your value. This might mean seeking out new friendships, joining communities aligned with your interests, or reconnecting with supportive family members. Regularly engaging with a positive and encouraging circle creates a sense of belonging and reminds you that you are valued and appreciated. Time management is also a habit that can help you regain control and prioritize what truly matters. When you allocate your time intentionally, you're less likely to feel overwhelmed or undervalued by others. Create a schedule that balances work, personal growth, and leisure, and stick to it consistently. This habit reinforces the idea that your time is valuable and should be spent in ways that align with your goals and well-being. Finally, practicing acts of kindness both toward yourself and others can be a transformative habit. Being kind to yourself involves self-care, forgiveness, and treating yourself with the same compassion you would offer a friend. Acts of kindness toward others, whether it's lending a helping hand or offering a sincere compliment, create a sense of connection and purpose. These habits remind you that your value extends beyond how others perceive you and that you have the power to make a positive impact in the world.